Dhanyavad Guru Mitali. That was an incredible depiction of Radha's dilemma. In the epic Mahabharata, one of the most iconic and pivotal moments is Draupadi's Haran or Haran, disrobing of Draupadi. This dramatic incident not only showcases the depth of injustice and arrogance perpetrated by the Kauravas, but also serves as a turning point, eventually leading to their downfall. Duryodhana, the eldest of the Kauravas, was consumed by jealousy and hatred for the Pandavas, particularly Yudhishthira, who stood for honesty and righteousness. A plan was devised by Shakuni, the Kauravas' maternal uncle, and Duryodhana in the name of inviting the Pandavas to a game of dice, knowing Yudhishthira's weakness, was gambling. In this infamously manipulated game of dice, Yudhishthira was forced to stake his wealth first and loses all his wealth. In the next game, he loses his brothers and even himself, eventually left with bare hands. But Duryodhana, continuing on his quest to humiliate the Pandavas, compels Yudhishthira to wager their wife Draupadi. Yudhishthira, resigning to his fate, stakes Draupadi in the third game and loses her to the Kauravas also. Draupadi, who was unaware of what happens to her next, was dragged by her hands and her long hair into the court by Dushyasana, Duryodhana's younger brother. As an act of humiliation, Dushyasana was prompted by Duryodhana to attempt to disrobe Draupadi in full view of the assembly. While Draupadi was fighting, begging and pleading for the atrocity to end, mighty Dushyasana continued with disrobing. It was at this moment of despair, Draupadi stopped struggling and raised both her arms in surrender to Lord Krishna. And miraculously, her sari kept extending, protecting her dignity. Blinded by his arrogance, Dushyasana continued to disrobe Draupadi without realizing she was being protected by Lord Krishna. Dushyasana collapsed in sheer exhaustion. Draupadi is not merely a woman abused, but a form of Parashakti who pledged to triumph over the evil. We now present to you Draupadi Chidharan.
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे। युगे